This game was made by a 2-person team, so it doesn't really get much more indie than that. Don't let that discourage you. It's actually all the more reason to take a look at this game. It's called Forgotten Seas and set to release tomorrow on June 7th. The game may look very bare bones at first glance, but it does already offer sophisticated mechanics and features in its early access state. There's ship combat, base building, crew members, farming, crafting, and a pretty unique feature called Ship in a Bottle, where you can create different types of ships, store them compactly, and deploy them as needed. That's not to say, of course, that you don't notice the limited budget and the time that is still needed to improve this game. That's especially visible in the animations, for example, which are very basic and not very smooth or dynamic. But let's start from the beginning. Character creation is very simple, with not really any meaningful ways to customize your appearance. Once you jump into the game, you will learn that the game takes place within the mysterious Bermuda Triangle. You are stranded in this eerie part of the ocean, and your main goal is to survive and find a way back home, while dealing with all sorts of dangers and puzzles. You have the typical 4 survival elements that you need to take care of, which are health, stamina, hunger and thirst. The game is built around various key activities. You'll spend a lot of time sailing across the ocean, discovering islands that appear and disappear. Now, it's important to note that while the ocean can claim islands, the game does differentiate between permanent islands and hidden or vanishing islands. For example, the island where you settle down and build your base will be a permanent island, so you don't need to worry that all of a sudden your entire base and belongings will disappear or something. I know this would be a deal breaker for many here, so I wanted to mention that. Of course, there's crafting and base building. For that, you have a very handy recipe book that perhaps reminds us a bit of Sons of the Forest. The ship in a bottle mechanic is a pretty cool feature that lets you create and store ships compactly in a bottle. You can then deploy these ships whenever you need them, and these range from small boats to large dreadnoughts. You will also find fragments of treasure maps, which lead to hidden treasures like sunken pyramids or lost ships. It's a classic treasure hunt, but with the added requirement of having to piece together maps to find the locations. To improve your character over time, there's also a basic progression system based on your attributes and resistances. Combat happens both on land and at sea. You can dual-wield weapons like muskets and swords, and parry your opponents to get the upper hand. The animations get the job done, but are pretty stiff, and the hit feedback and general impact feeling isn't that great. The fundamentals are there, but I think it would greatly benefit the game if this aspect could be improved over time. Thankfully, the developer herself mentioned that they are aware of this. I'm going to work on an actual review once I have around 10 hours into the game, but this should for now give you a decent understanding of the game, as well as its current early access limitations and whether you want to support this project. I will gift 1 copy of this game to a randomly selected commenter on this video. The deadline will be exactly 72 hours after the publication of this video, and since I don't usually get that many comments, the chances are actually not that bad to receive this game for free. So if you have anything to say or have any feedback, feel free to do so in the comments and add your Steam friend code so you can receive the game if you are selected. Drop a like if this was useful, and I'll see you next time.